That's number one. You kind of reset.
Painful, tender to the touch. May also
Same shoulder length, and the other. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Real Health with Brandi and Amir. I am Dr. Amir Rashidian, and this is Brandi Rashidian, my other half, and this is where we talk about real health. And we like to discuss how to feel better, get stronger, live longer, and
my favorite,
feel younger. This is our 4th episode.
Super exciting.
And we're on a roll. We're doing great. If you haven't been with us previously, what we do is we take news articles about health, and we discuss them from a wellness perspective. And not only that, we want to give you advice and suggestions on how to make sure that what we're learning in the news is beneficial to you.
Absolutely. And really, what we also want to do is teach you how to ask great questions.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's really what finding true health is being willing to ask questions and to question things that come up in the news, right? There's a lot of information that's handed to us on a daily basis. So we need to be figuring out how to kind of get from it what's really important and what's true, and then filter out the rest, because a lot of it is just noise.
Yeah, and sometimes, when we discuss a subject or a topic, we come up with ideas that we wouldn't have thought of before.
Absolutely.
So it leads to other things. So why don't we get right to it? This first article is from USA Today, and the title says, "A heart was flown from Alaska to Boston, breaking a transplant record. Here's how it was done." And Massachusetts General Hospital. It was at Massachusetts General Hospital. The heart was flown from Alaska, so at a record-breaking 2,506 miles. The trip in late April is the farthest a human heart had ever traveled.
Yeah, it's funny because we've all seen the shows where there's been a heart transplant or a kidney transplant, right? And then they all carry the organ
in a cooler.
I think it's actually what's the cooler? What's the kind
Igloo.
of cooler? Yeah, an igloo, right? What our dads all used to carry their lunch in, right?
Yeah.
To go to work. It's so funny. And so that's what we would always see. Well, I never even really thought, is that actually what they use?
They pack it in ice. They put it in, actually, as the article said that. The article said they used to put it in regular coolers.
Which is so funny.
But and so that allowed them between 4 and 6 hours.
Right.
To get the heart into the body. And this one, it took a lot longer than 4 to 6 hours. It was 7.5 hours.
Right. And I guess we didn't really think about that, right? That in order for, not only does an organ have to be like a blood match, a tissue match for, the receiving person, but I had never even thought about the distance to travel. So, because I'm thinking to myself, well, how many people actually donate their organs? There's got to be a really good number of them. And then you go, how tough is it really to get a match in an organ? But then you throw the geographic issue on top of it. So I see it's a whole other level of complexity.
7.5 hours. I mean, that means they could, technically, I guess a flight from London to Washington, D.C. is 8 hours,
right.
So, but this was made possible. A company called Paragonix Technologies created this thing called a Sherpa pack, which controls the temperature.
Right.
And because it's got a cooling system. Donated hearts typically travel in a cooler, like the ones people use at the pool or beach with ice. Though that helps keep the organ cool, the uncontrolled temperatures inside can dip below freezing, which increases the risk for tissue damage. The Sherpa pack keeps the heart at a perfect temperature of 4 to 8 degrees Celsius, they said. This is 2023. No one had thought about.
I was just thinking about that. I was thinking to myself, in all our immense amount of technology, the fact that
our refrigerator talks to us.
Our refrigerator can order food for us.
Yeah, it's so funny. You knock on it and it clears up. You can see what's inside, and it tells you the temperature of each shelf. And that's just a refrigerator in our home. And they were still using coolers with regular ice to transport a human heart.
I think we missed the boat again. I always think, why did we invent that? Like, there's so many things, and I
If
had
you
no
just
idea there was a hole here.
if you just came up with the idea of a temperature controlled device like a mini freezer that you can program to carry the heart, I mean, just patent the idea. Just come up with the idea and go to patent office, patent it,
Let somebody
and
else
wait
figure
for
it out.
someone to invent it. Then they have to pay you to create it. I mean, anyways, and then you come up with a name like Sherpa Pack.
Now
Sherpa.
you're just going to hurt their feelings.
I'm sorry. I apologize. It's able to monitor the heart's temperature with a mobile app. Pretty cool.
That is very cool. My grill can do that too.
Technology can help reduce the number of viable organs that are discarded, which is nice. A 2019 study estimated the country discarded about 3,500 kidneys a year,
That's
which is about 18% of the kidneys it recovers. So 3,500 is only 18% of all the kidneys that they recover. So 18% of the kidneys they recover go to waste. Research shows about 20 people die in the U.S. every day waiting for an organ transplant.
well, so it begs to question, why did it take us so long to figure this out? Seems like there's a lot of people that could have been helped by some simple technology.
Well,
And I'm not calling their technology
somebody
simple.
made some good money off of it too. The story ends with the statement, the heart did very well. So this heart came from Juneau, Alaska, all the way to Boston, and yeah,
Love it.
got into a person. Listen, I want to caution everybody: you have to take care of your heart.
Yeah.
Take care of all your organs. We hear this and we go, oh, cool. This person got a new heart and they come out of the hospital and they go back to the normal life. That's not how it goes, guys. It's not like that.
Easy.
It's a big deal. Sometimes the body rejects that organ. These people have to stay on immune suppressants for the rest of their life.
Yep.
They're not normal. Yeah, they get a new heart and they live. I remember there was a gentleman in our church, his wife. He came in, he had a hereditary condition, and he came to our church. He asked the elders to pray for him, and we all did. We prayed for him as a group, and then he ended up not living long enough to get a new heart, and passed away. But it's not easy. It's difficult life when you're waiting for that heart. Your family suffers, your children suffer, and every day could be the last day of this person's life. And then when they get a heart, it's the same thing. And it's just not the same as the heart that you were given at birth. So you got to take care of it. You got to look at your body as if, imagine when you turned 16, you got a car. Someone gave you this car and said, this is yours, but it has to last you 100 years.
Right.
Would you take really good care of it from day one? You're like, this is the only car I'm going to get for the rest of my life. Yeah, but that's your heart. And the heart doesn't sleep. It doesn't rest.
Yeah.
Think about that. It is
Constant
beating
motion.
just constantly. How many things do we know that beat constantly for 80, 90, 100 years
Your watches don't do that.
No, not a single. I've had bad luck with watches recently. I get these expensive watches and then they stop working. So, watch transplant. So, because we talked about the heart, there's another article here. This is in Medical News Today. It says amyloidosis of the heart reversed in 3 patients for the first time. This was in June 9th of 2023. Transthyretin cardiac amyloidopathy is a rare but severe and progressive heart condition where sticky, toxic proteins build up in the heart muscle and cause heart failure. That sounds kind of scary. So it's a rare thing, but until now, there hadn't been a cure for it. And all of a sudden, 3 people where, it's basically a death sentence, but 3 people recovered from it completely.
Wow.
Current treatment can relieve the symptoms, but cannot cure the disorder. Now, in an unprecedented finding, scientists have reported that 3 patients have spontaneously recovered from the condition. They believe this finding may lead to new treatments and possibly even a cure. Although rare, there around 5 to 7,000 cases diagnosed in the United States each year. That's a lot of people.
New cases?
Yeah,
Ha-
5 to 7,000.
See, when I start getting numbers like that, it doesn't feel super rare to me.
Right. Yeah, but then again, I don't know anybody who had amyloidosis. I don't know if you do, at people watching.
Yeah.
But it's, again, it goes to show, take care of your heart. Now, this one seems like it's a hereditary thing. What interested me is the fact that it said these 3 people spontaneously recovered from it.
And they're not saying they were given anything.
Well,
They weren't.
we'll read about that.
Okay.
I think they found out what they were doing, and we'll talk about that. My point is this: there are no incurable diseases.
Hmm.
Fred Barge was a chiropractor. He was one of the people I really looked up to. He's passed away, but he used to say there are no incurable diseases, only incurable people. How interesting! The deadliest cancer, you'll find people who recovered from it and went into complete remission.
Yeah.
And I am not someone, when it comes to the physiology of the body, I know that there are such things as miracles.
Yep.
But I also believe there's reasons for it. And some people recover better. Remember Dr. Russell Reese, cardiologist, used to say, if you live long enough, you're going to be faced with a big challenge. And how you come out of that challenge is determined completely by how well you've been living your life up to that moment.
Correct.
So everybody's going to face something. I don't want to, this is not doom and gloom. I'm just saying that there's a
that's the
possibility.
reality.
There's reality. There's a possibility of an illness. Somebody's going to get sick. Somebody's going to get hurt. Some accident's going to happen. There's going to be a natural disaster. But it's not whether you can prevent every bad thing that happens to you. It's, can you recover from it? And how you live your life up to the moment of that disaster determines how well you recover from it. I don't believe only 3 people in the world have ever recovered from amyloidosis of the heart.
Right.
I bet there's more. Maybe they just weren't diagnosed. Maybe they started having some problems and then they got better. So let me tell you about this thing. Mutations in this protein can make it form insoluble amyloid fibrils in the heart muscle. These make the heart muscle stiff and rigid, leading to congestive heart failure. Again, scary. Congestive heart failure is when blood pools in your legs because the heart's not strong enough to pump the blood back up. And those are people who get a lot of swelling in their ankles.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because the fluid leaks out of the blood into the interstitial tissues outside of your blood vessels. As well as heart failure, the condition, which is more common in men over the age of 60, can cause irregular heartbeat, cardiac arrhythmias, atrial fibrillation, and other symptoms such as carpal tunnel syndrome. So amyloidosis of the heart can cause
Carpal tunnel.
carpal tunnel syndrome. The carpal tunnel, if you don't know, is in your wrists. So the median nerve gets impinged, causing numbness and pain, loss of grip strength in your hand.
Isn't that fascinating?
Around half of those diagnosed with this die within 4 years of diagnosis, half of them. So we said between 5 to 7,000 new cases every year.
Right.
Half of them die within 4 years.
Wow.
Now researchers led by scientists from University College London have for the first time reported the spontaneous recovery of 3 patients with ATTR-CM, which is amyloidosis of the heart. They believe that the recovery may have been due to an immune response, suggesting that antibody treatments could be effective against the condition. The findings are published in the New England Journal of Medicine, which is a very reputable, peer-reviewed journal. It's kind of the holy grail of publications. You get something published there, you're pretty impressive. So they said cure is obviously a big word, but the disease has reversed and they have little in the way of remaining symptoms. That's talking about those 3 people. Why did the patients improve?
That's what I'm waiting for. What is the catalyst?
The research suggests that the improvement might be due to an immune response. They found antibodies in the 3 men that specifically targeted amyloid deposits. These amyloid targeting antibodies were not found in other patients whose condition progressed as normal. Previous antibody treatment studies confirmed that amyloid deposits could be removed from abdominal viscera, but this is the first firm evidence that transthyretin cardiac deposits are susceptible to removal by harnessing the body's intrinsic way to rid itself of unwanted invaders. So now this is so neat because this is not a chiropractor who said this.
Correct.
But what do chiropractors believe? Principle 1 of chiropractic is innate intelligence.
Yes.
Innate wisdom. So that means the human body is created with this wisdom, this innate intelligence that can detect, correct, self-regulate, and even heal within limits itself. That's innate wisdom. Innate wisdom says if I get a cut in my hand, I will clot, the blood would clot, not everywhere else, just where that cut was. And then skin will start to regenerate in that area, not everywhere else. And it'll seal, and antibodies will go there to kill the bacteria that might have come into the cut and all of that stuff. It's incredible. It's the same, innate wisdom is the same thing that heals broken bones. Someone used to say, the late Dr. Tom Owens, you say innate wisdom is how a brown cow will eat green grass and produce white milk that makes yellow butter.
Right.
So shout out to the Owens family if they're listening. But he was one of our mentors when it comes to chiropractic. So this doctor says that the body's intrinsic way to rid itself of unwanted invaders.
Yeah, I think we need to sit in that for a second
Absolutely.
because that is so counter to what so many, maybe not, I don't want to say to what people believe, but in how we act and treat our bodies, right? Because we're so quick to take a pill, right? To try to fix something that's gone haywire in the body. We don't always dig deep enough to find out why the body has gone haywire or is doing something off program, so to speak, right? But there's a reason for it. I think if we would just take the time to just, we talked about getting curious with your kids and asking the questions and talking. We have to do that with our health too. Because if we just stay at the surface, we're missing so much.
Mm-hmm.
So much. Everything is connected. How is it that a heart issue can be at the root of carpal tunnel? Just that alone. I mean, in chiropractic, we talk about referral patterns, right? There's pain referral patterns. So some people do not understand how an issue in one part of the spine can cause pain in a totally different part of the body, right? And sometimes it doesn't make any sense. And people are so surprised. Matter of fact, they think you're magic. Should we tell them you're not magic? I'm
not magic. It's all science. Science. The human body was created to self-heal and self-regulate. That's a fact. You can't disprove it. Why do we have receptors for all these drugs?
Right.
Like we have serotonin receptors.
Yep.
So we go, okay, and then serotonin gets destroyed in the body. So that's how antidepressants work, is they stop the reuptake of serotonin, so more is available in the body. And so that's what an antidepressant is. But it's working with the body's own mechanisms, and the body can still do that. So you can get your body to produce more serotonin as opposed to taking a medication. Now, I'm not telling you to stop to your medication, right? We're not saying that.
We are not saying
If you've been prescribed a drug, you take it, talk to your doctor if you want to come off of it. Don't stop, because we're talking about this. Opioids are another one. People are addicted to opioids because of pain. They take these opioids and they stop feeling pain. The pain is still there. They just don't feel it anymore. But now, why do opioids work? Is because we are created with opioid receptors in our bodies. So why do we have opioid receptors? Now, opioids weren't around thousands of years ago.
Right.
They weren't even around hundreds of years ago. They're recent. So, but they act on those opioid receptors. So why does the body have opioid receptors? They didn't show up when the drug was invented. They were always there because you can produce your own opioids.
Right.
Did you know that? Endorphins are, endorphin is
Any
morphine.
woman who has ever given birth naturally knows and understands that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so exercise can increase endorphins. Kissing your baby, you get endorphins. It's a feel-good hormone. It's morphine. It's morphine, but it's natural. So you don't get addicted to it.
Right.
You don't overproduce it. You don't abuse it.
Right.
It's amazing. And dopamine is another one. Dopamine is produced when you feel good, and when you get good news, and when you're about to do something fun, or when you achieve something great. Now, these amyloid plaques, actually, they can develop in the brain as well.
Oh.
And that's not in the article, but that's just something I know is if you're not sleeping properly, amyloid plaques build up in the body, in the brain. REM sleep, not REM, dream sleep. When you dream at night, now you don't have to remember the dream. So in fact, it's the healthiest sleep is when you wake up, you don't remember your dream. But everybody dreams at night. Dreaming is what detoxifies the brain of those plaques. Again, another demonstration of the human body's ability to self-heal and self-regulate. So these plaques build up during the day. We dream at night, and we get rid of it. Now, there's one thing that blocks dreaming is drugs and alcohol. Block
Interesting.
dreaming in your sleep. So people go, I need to take a drink every night to fall asleep. But that's not good sleep because you won't dream. When you don't dream, you don't detoxify your brain of those amyloid plaques.
Interesting.
And that can lead to dementia and Alzheimer's. Sleep is extremely important. The article says this is a stunning observation and one that should be able to be replicated with manufactured antibodies or through immunization of amyloidosis patients against their own amyloid protein. So anyways, there's that word immunization, which is a kind of a scary word. Just because there's so much of it already.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a lot, and there's controversy, and this says it is in quotes. It is a gene editing therapy. So the drug they're thinking about is a gene editing therapy, the first of its kind, which knocks out the TTR gene, reduces circulating concentration of TTR protein, and thereby slows ongoing amyloid formation. So what does it do long term? And so one thing we learned from the Human Genome Project is that there's like 20,000 genes in the body, but there's over 100,000 expressions of those genes,
Right.
which means each gene can express itself in multiple different ways. Some genes can express themselves in 20, 30 different ways. Those are called phenotypes. So there's genotype and phenotype. And so that's where the whole concept of epigenetics came from, is that genes are like apps on your phone. If you have a phone and you have 14 different apps on it, those apps aren't running. Those programs aren't running. The minute you click on them, then they start to run.
Right.
So
you've activated that
something
program.
activated that gene to get it to produce that protein. If we could figure out how to not activate that gene, from a lifestyle standpoint,
Right.
environmental standpoint. So I'll give you an example. Almost everybody, this was in the Huffington Post 7-8 years ago. It was an article that said they discovered the gene for hangovers. and they further said that most people have this gene. So you have the gene for hangovers, and so do I. Now, are you hungover?
Not right now.
You are very, very genetically susceptible to hangovers, yet you're not hungover. Why is that? You have the gene for it, but you're not hungover. Why is that?
Well, it might be because I haven't had a drink.
We all have genetic predispositions to coughing, sneezing, vomiting. We're not walking around doing those things because those are apps that need to be activated.
Right. And let me just say, because this is one thing that I've been thinking about as we started talking about this, is everything is two-sided, right? There's often an action, and depending on what's going on, that could be a positive action, it could be a negative action. But sometimes we need both, right? And so I would be concerned with making a massive change that would change that gene or pull that gene out of potentially ever being activated, because if, like you're saying, there's multiple expressions, and I'm not a geneticist whatsoever, I'll never claim that, but I just think, I go, well, if there's multiple expressions, what if one I need at some point in my life to keep something bad from happening, right? I mean, you did a study on uh cholesterol, right? When you were at NIH. So let's talk a little bit. Can we deviate just a hair and talk about that? Because how many people talk about, oh, my cholesterol is so high and that's terrible and I have to do X, Y, Z. Well, you also were, helped run this study, and you have a very different thought process on cholesterol.
Well, yeah, cholesterol fluctuates in the body. We took our subjects and tested their cholesterol every morning, and it changed by 20 points day to day. So there's a 20-point swing day to day. So one day it could be 180, the next day it's 200.
That's a huge, I mean, a 20-point difference could be the difference between somebody being put on medication,
Correct.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's huge,
Oh, yeah. Cholesterol is like your blood pressure.
right?
It needs to fluctuate based on environmental stress. So if you put me on a treadmill and have me run, my blood pressure should go up. If my blood pressure stays at 120/70, I'll pass out.
There's a problem.
When I'm running, my blood pressure needs to go up to maybe 170, 180, 190/100. That sustains life.
Right.
You wouldn't say I am hypertensive because my blood pressure went up because I was exerting myself. You would
Right.
never, that's normal. Same with cholesterol. So if you slap me with a bat, you hit me with a bat and you give me a big bruise on my shoulder, let's say, you break down some cells. Cell membrane is made up of the bilipid membrane, which is made up of triglycerides, which is cholesterol. And so instantly my liver is going to produce more cholesterol to help my body repair those cells where you just gave me a bruise. So you wouldn't say, oh, you have hypercholesterolemia because you have a bruise, but this isn't understood and talked about.
Correct.
Same with if you're under stress and you need a lot of cortisol in your body, precursor to cortisol, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, growth hormone. All these hormones, these are called steroidal hormones because the precursor to them is actually cholesterol. So let's say you're deficient in testosterone, you need cholesterol. In fact, there are articles, look this up. We don't have them here, but there are articles that show cholesterol of less than 160 is more harmful than cholesterol of above 280.
Wow.
More harmful because it can cause more heart disease and more problems in the body because you don't have enough at that point to repair the cells that are dying and needing replacement, and you don't have enough to produce the hormones your body needs. In fact, when you look at the molecular structure of cholesterol and vitamin D, they're almost identical.
But see, no one knows this. And by no one, I mean, no one's talking about this, right? We don't have patients come in and go, hey, my doctor just put me on cholesterol medication. What should I know about that? Or what should nobody, they go up, I have high cholesterol, and it's like a blanket statement. And it's almost a badge of honor that then they're on a medication for it. And we're going, oh, cholesterol is important to the body. So, reducing it unnecessarily.
Do you know the highest amount of cholesterol is found in breast milk?
So funny.
And the brain requires cholesterol to grow. So the baby's brain requires cholesterol. Yet there's no infant formula that has cholesterol in it. So why did our creator put so much cholesterol in breast milk?
Yeah.
And why are we not putting it in infant formula?
That's a great question.
Because we think cholesterol is evil. It's not evil. It's necessary.
Yeah.
Again, I have to give you the disclaimer. If you're on medication for cholesterol, do not stop.
Right.
And talk to your doctor. And if you want to come off of it, you're going to, again, have to be under medical supervision and so on. But I know it's one of the, I think after allergy medication and antidepressants, then the cholesterol medication is the highest prescribed medication of all. And I remember back when I was in school, decades ago, cholesterol wasn't considered high until it was over 240. Then they changed it to 220, and then they changed it to 200, and now they've changed it to 180. We keep lowering the standard of healthy cholesterol. I don't want to get into all the politics behind that.
Right.
It does bother me. and the whole thing between good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, there's no bad cholesterol. It's necessary. Why would your body produce something that's bad for you?
Correct.
Your body does not ever produce something that's bad for you. The only thing your body does is increase your chance of survival. And your body may decide, based on innate intelligence, innate wisdom given to us, put into us, that self-heals and self-regulates. The body decides we need more cholesterol to repair,
more.
regenerate, produce more hormones, and it'll produce that. Exactly. Now, you get between around 70% of your cholesterol in your body is produced by the liver, and 30% comes from your diet. However, if you stop eating cholesterol in your diet, your cholesterol won't go down. Your liver will now produce 100% of what you need. That's how we know it's regulated by innate wisdom. The liver just says, okay, he didn't eat any eggs today. We
Right.
still need more cholesterol. I'm going to produce more. It's not trying to kill you.
Right.
It knows what your body needs.
Right.
So there's so much more to this. We were going to talk about medical myths regarding the heart. I don't think we have time to get into that, but I think this discussion on cholesterol was huge. I do want to tell you something. Vitamin D is essential. Most people are deficient in vitamin D. It's going to protect your heart. When we're talking about the heart, avoiding heart transplants and things like that, check your vitamin D levels. Get a blood test. Find out what it is. If it's low, increase it. You can take it orally or get some sunlight. Early morning sunlight is the healthiest sunlight. When you first wake up, actually, if you want proper sleep patterns and circadian rhythm, go outside early in the morning. Early morning sunlight has tremendous amount of UVB rays, which help you produce more vitamin D, but help improve serotonin levels and all of that stuff. It can be a great antidepressant. Those of you dealing with grief, I'm getting ready to do a talk on grief in a couple weeks for parents who have lost a child to overdose. And we're going to talk about how to physiologically recover from grief. Maybe we'll record the talk and put it on our channel here. But another one is CoQ10. CoQ10 is necessary. It's a coenzyme Q10 is a supplement you can take that helps your heart be healthy. Now, in every country except the United States, when a medical doctor prescribes a cholesterol medication, they also prescribe CoQ10. 200 milligrams per day is what they typically recommend. Two reasons. One, cholesterol medication depletes the body of CoQ10. CoQ10 is required for a healthy heart. So if you're lowering your cholesterol for your heart to be healthy, you better be taking the CoQ10.
It's an important
Every country
aspect.
says that, but the reason the United States doesn't prescribe it, but other countries do, like Canada, Mexico, every country in Europe, is because their version of the FDA regulates supplements.
Supplementation.
The FDA in the United States does not oversee or regulate supplements,
Right.
which bothers me. They should,
Right.
because there's a lot of powerful supplements that we need to regulate. And so, sometimes they'll say this isn't approved by the FDA. Well, nothing supplemental is approved by the
Right.
FDA because they don't even look at it. But CoQ10 is necessary. It's important. The other countries do it. We should do it as well. So let's leave on that note. Keep your heart healthy. Exercise.
Ask
think
questions.
right. Ask questions. And hopefully this was beneficial to you.
Thanks so much for joining us.
We appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Let us know if you like this, and let us know what articles you want us to talk about next and more of. We'll be back with the next episode. That one will be episode number 5, and we will continue to talk about news reports and articles, information that you need to know to feel better, get stronger, live longer, and feel younger. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.